Hello everyone, welcome to Duene Tech channel. We are continuing learning JavaScript using FreeCodeCamp website. So let's navigate directly to where we stopped in previous challenge. So if I navigate here to the FreeCodeCamp website, we stop here in this challenge 71, and in this challenge is asking us to use addition assignment. So here instead of I plus 1, so this will be plus equal 1. So still it will work same as it was previously. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to use increment operator instead of addition assignment operator. So this is a quick example here. For example, test equals 7, and if we need to increase this test by 1, we'll call test plus plus, which is called increment operator. Let's do same here for I. Just remove 1 and then add just plus plus instead, and this still it will work same as it was before. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update the iterator to start from 1 instead of 0. So the iterator previously was starting from 0 index, so now let's just update to start from 1 instead. And check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update the first argument in this function instead of I plus 1 to be just I. So let's just remove plus 1 and then check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge, that is telling us now our parameters is displayed is not as expected. So now this has 7 rows where it's expected to have 8 rows. So to fix this issue is asking us to update here this count instead of I less than count, so which will be stop when reached to 8. And instead of that, we need to check when I is less than or equal to count, then that should display 8 row instead. So now if you count these rows, so it will be 8. Now check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is explaining that in JavaScript you can use this / to add a comment in JavaScript. So this to add a comment for a single line. So it's asking us to add one here for this for loop. So let's just add this / and then here you add your whatever comment you want to add. In this case it's asking us that so we are going to use a different type of loop on next challenge. So let's just add that here. Use different loop syntax. And then check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is explaining the different way of adding a comment in JavaScript. For example, if we want to add a comment for multiple line, so we can use / asterisk, then at the end we add asterisk, then slash. So in the previous challenge we learned how to add a comment on JavaScript for a single line, but this for multiple line. And in this example is asking us to add comment for multi-line comments for this for loop. So by adding this / then asterisk, then at the end add asterisk and then slash. So and then check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. And submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge now is explaining that the if statement in JavaScript. Before going to the next challenge, we should start learning about if condition. So it's an statement allow you to run a code when the condition is true. And this is a quick example of the syntax. We'll have the syntax start with the if keyword and then parentheses. Inside this parentheses we'll add the condition, and when this condition is true, then we'll run the code inside this curly bracket. So at the end here is asking us to add if condition here, and with the condition true, and this will be always calling whatever inside this curly bracket. And inside the curly bracket is asking us to print this text. If you remember in the previous challenge and tutorials, we learned how to print a text in JavaScript using console log. Let's do that here. And then as the text and semicolon the end. So now that if you see on the right side top here is displaying the text we added. It's just this, we use this console.log to print this text. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is explaining to us that we can see this text is displayed here in this console because the condition is true. But if we change this condition to be false, then we will not be able to see this text printed here on the right side. Let's change true to false. And now if you see that the text is disappeared from this section. So check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And this challenge is also explaining that this text is not printed anymore because the condition is false, and it will work only when it's true. But also is asking what if we try to pass a string. For example, if we wrap this false with the double quotes, then instead of boolean will be changed to treated as a string. So let's just wrap this false with the double quotes, will be wrapped as a string. And if you see that now is back, we see the console log is displayed, and the string which will be treated as a true value. So that's why we see the console log being printed. So check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And by now this is the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next tutorial.